Welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Langers, and what I'm trying to do is put trading in the real world, and that's exactly what we're doing this month, because the whole month is about, well, small account growth. So that's exactly what we're doing. So I started with £200 and we steadily grown it up, and we're keeping a little record. And today is kind of a quick market overview of what I'm looking at and a quick catch up as to see where we are with this. And then I'll do another video a bit later on today following on in the series, but it's on technical analysis, because if you go through it, I'm assuming nobody's ever switched a computer on in their life, and I'm going from the inception right the way to the completion. Okay, so this is what we've been up to. We started with £200. The gross is 250.09, and you'll see my current balance is 240.09, and that's because we withdrew £10, and that's what I recommend that you do with your profits. Take so much out. We're going to be taking out another £10 today. So for the first month, my balance has paid me 10%, and I've also grown the initial balance as well. Okay, and we also edging up the bids. We currently at 62p. So we're not talking mega amounts of money, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw our £10. Just put that back up there out the way. Okay, and the reason why I do this is because, well, it's very simple. We're in this to be paid. If you leave your money in your brokerage account, what will happen is you'll want to use it. So what I recommend is you withdraw some money, and that's exactly what we're doing. So that's all nicely complete. So bear with me a second and I will go back into the screens. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, that's now dropped down by £10. So what we do on the sheet is every time you do it on the kind of day, what day is it today? It's the 14th. Well, it doesn't really matter. But we've now withdrawn £10. So we can see the wage is 20 for the month. This is our complete growth, which is 23%. And we are doing quite well. Okay. And the kind of difference between them, because you'll see the P&L is slightly out of whack. And that's because we have to pay interest on some of the positions that we hold overnight. And that's the difference. So that's the gross. That's the net P&L. We have 100% win rate, and we're averaging about 9.7 pips. Okay. And then I keep a run of the pip counters here as well. Okay. So it's a nice, easy sheet to work to. So what am I looking at? Well, because of the small amount of money involved, I can't trade a lot of different markets because I simply can't afford it. And I'll show you for why. You see, if this is to be traded, I need to hold £149.73p in the account. Well, I can afford it because I've got 230. And that gives me a little bit of room if the market moves against me. So that's why. And each one of these, as you can see, doesn't cost a great deal of money to trade. All right. And that's why they're there. They're relatively cheap. But as I've grown the account, I'm able to add in some extra products like oil. So now what I can do is I can now keep an eye on the charts and see what interests me. Well, I like FTSE, and this one here could well be a contender. There was a big drive yesterday, and I've been taking money out of this drive. So now we can see its rejection of this area, and it's coming down here. Once it gets to here, I'll be able to analyze the chart fully and decide whether I want to take a trade. So this is looking pretty darn good. And if that comes on a solid pulse down and it breaks this area, well, its next logical place is down here. Okay, because what you can see is it was a range there, clearly defined between there and there. It's pushed out, it's kind of rejected, it's come back up, but it hasn't had enough strength to go fully back to the top to restart the range. So what happens is it'll push down to a point of attraction, which is here. And as you can see, it's clustered around that area before. So here's going to be a good reaction. And then you're just ready to either go from there to see if it'll come back to brush the bottoms of these. So you can grab some pips there, you know, maybe 10. And if it breaks out to the underside, then there's a high probability it's definitely going to brush the center ground. So you get another 10 pips, possibly down to here. And if it goes down to there, well, then it's on a merry old run down. So you just keep an eye on it. And again, it's kind of news driven. And if you look at the past, you can see these areas that I've marked in are heavy reaction points before. So self-fulfilling prophecy. Get my teeth back in. Self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, what's happened in the past has a high probability of what's happening in the future. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on FTSE today. This one's caught my eye. We've seen the drive up. It is now rejected. And I want to see what happens at the end of this candle. I'd like to see it push down to then reject back up. That's the general idea. There's not a lot I can see in this at the moment. Possibly this move here for a counter trend. But it's pushing up to the tops of this envelope. So I'll be marking this up and having a good look at it. And if I take it out to a higher time frame, the reason why I'm not really interested in it is because the drive is complete and it's now consolidating on the hour, but it's not showing me anything. There's no solid wicks to the top or the downside. It's kind of all indecision. So I want to see some form of direction, and at the moment I can't gauge it, so I'm not going to trade it. The one I am watching is this. This is probably the play for today, and I'll be looking for a retracement of this move, okay? Because it's come down, it's consolidated, it's pushed down, but it's not really showing any signs. So I'm going to watch it over the next couple of hours and see if this is showing signs to the upside. And if it is, then I'll be looking to take a long against that move there. But I'm also holding out because if this breaks, it's on a merry old drop. Okay. The US 500, not really anything for me to check on here. Nothing exciting. Crude oil. Now, crude is one of those markets that it's, well, let's just say it's indecisive at the best of times, because just when you think you've got a handle on it, whoosh, it's away the other way. But it is struggling to make new highs, as we can see here. It's in a range, so I'd like to see it pop underneath here. If it does, then we're on a merry journey to there. And you'll get a decent return in that move. So I'm keeping an eye on this as well. Gold, again, gold had a whopping drop. It's now consolidating between here and here. If it can break this, there's a high probability it can get to roughly around there, touch the bottom of this, which is approximately 50% of this drop. And that could be a reasonable. The only problem that I have with it is it's not a big move. You see, it's only about 7 points. And because this is priced out of point, it's quite a risk for a small return. And the other thing that I'm looking at on this, if you notice, my risk is coming down nicely, because when you're dealing with a small account, you have to put risk on. You have no other choice, guys. You really don't. Simply because you've got nowhere to go. But this is coming down now where I can trade it around 59p, 60 pence, and still have a 20, 30 pip stop, which puts it into possibility. And it's only 5%. So I can kind of go with that, because on my proper accounts, my wage account, etc., I'm normally about 4% across 2 or 3 trades. I try to keep them under 2, but each trade is individual. Sometimes I'll take quite a bit of risk on if I'm absolutely certain, but the account can take the damage. In other words, if I make a loss, well, I make a loss, and I just have to live with it. But when I'm dealing with this, I have literally got nowhere to go. I have to use the silver bullet every time. In other words, get it right. So you have to be patient. And that comes back to running a small account. If you don't have patience and you're trying to get in and out of the market all the time, it's not going to work. You'll fail, because you'll take a substandard trade, and that substandard trade will hurt you. So you have to be patient and wait. I mean, it's coming up 11 o'clock, and I've been sitting watching these all morning. Yes, I'm trading my other accounts and they're doing quite well, but this one I have to sit on. And finally, we're looking at the Euro JPY, and again we've got a beautiful move down. There's no real signs of it slowing up, but before I want to enter this market, I need to see it break this level, and then I'll start having a look fully into it. But other than that, it's on a merry journey down to here. And if you look at the different colors, basically what they're standing for is strong, medium, weak. In other words, the strength of the level that I think it's going to be. All right. Red is always the strongest. They're all strong levels. Don't get me wrong. They are strong. But in ranking of which one's the strongest, that's the strongest. Then it's that. Then it's this. So this is always a crucial area if it's red. And I pay very close attention to it, because if it's staying underneath this level will hold it back. All right. And then the next level, if it's rejecting, is here. Okay. So that's it. That's kind of what I'm looking at today. It's a quick overview of what we've done. And I'll keep dropping in little bits like this so you can see how the fun's going. And I know it's not exciting. And I know you look at it and go, 230 quid, who gives a monkeys? But I've done it safely. I've done it controlled. And I have grown £200 to 250, because what you've got to remember is I have withdrawn £20 from this. So that small account is paid for a pie every day. And that's the whole process, because we started last week. I only trade 3 days a week normally. If I say set up, I'll take it on a Monday and a Friday morning. But the idea is just to grow it steady, and that's what you do. You grow it constantly. So there we go. Not to worry. And there you go. So remember, guys, do what you love, and the money will follow.